Hi guys, welcome back to PPJ. We are your favorite trio. I'm Pumla,
Prima,
and
Joe.
And here we bring you real conversations with a mix of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But before we start, I want us to
we say we
give
bring real conversation.
respect to Alan Busby for his mad
Oh. We got Joe, you're tempting me. Hey.
Hey. Alan, tell us about this. What was your inspiration?
I don't even want to take credit. Like, that's straight from the brain of Joe.
Okay.
Then to my understanding
Joe,
of what his brain wants.
Okay.
And then the lovely voice of Mr. Kezerod.
Yes.
And together with the team from Digimark, and we built that.
You know, it's really something.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
It sounded like such white music, but I really loved it.
Yeah.
It was really something perfect for us.
Yeah.
And I think in a way our minds also think
a bit.
We've been on the other side.
Auntie, they told us the other episode we were trying. Remember when I was in Manchester? When I was what?
Hey, when I was in Manchester. No, me, I never said bad. Pumla is always. No, Pumla's life is like, she's like, before Manchester. Was that before? Yeah, or after Manchester.
Yeah, me, that's my time.
Yeah.
Post and pre.
Yeah,
Manchester.
Joel is always. When I was in New York.
When I lived
abroad. 1 month like this. Nonsense.
And Prima, how have you been?
I've been.
Prima, I sent you a message in your DM. I felt like a fan when you ignored me.
Oh dear, did you?
Have you seen that fame? Oh, did you?
You know, like.
You sent a story. You posted a story of your friends.
Oh no.
Wow.
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah.
Instagram. My Instagram, I think, has an issue. It kills me because I see messages like 6.
Oh, but you can't.
Like 6 days after.
Even me.
But did you see my
It's 2
response?
months now, dear.
No, I responded. It's going to come when Instagram catches that. I was like, oh.
But first explain to
Can you
me.
put
You
on your
guys, may
Wi-Fi
I have
and
a
upload?
question? Why do women wear hats in the gym? I don't understand it. Those caps when you're working out.
I don't wear one.
You are the only one, I think, in that group.
No,
that
I think
didn't
first of
have one.
no, it's different things. For some people, it's hair. So you want to keep your hair together.
fall on
So
you.
you put because now like spin is very so people want to keep their hair together. For some people it's style because there's also that as if athleisure. Is it called athleisure? Athleisure, like even when you're coming to the gym you have to look.
Okay, me, I think it's 98% done
The gym
because their
has
hair
us.
is not held up. It's not held.
No, but but the cap is holding it together. So even if it's down,
Yeah, but it's down.
even if it's down, it will still be at the back.
Puff holder.
Our gym
crunchy.
guys said, Prima, they request me to stop coming in Ndabada. All I do is
Ndabada is what?
But it means trouser. It means like a big trouser in Lusoga. So now, now me, mommy, I wear. Now me, mommy, I don't even wear a full trouser. I wear my normal workout things. But people, these days how they wear those short ones and they wear the other ones crunches, which are in the middle of the bum.
Yeah.
Like people really come in. Now me, because I come in normal things, guys are like, yo, Ndabada dear, stop.
They're called scrunchies.
Yeah, they're scrunchies where they
I don't understand that.
You know when it goes in between.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I can never.
Because the emotion makes you. Then your emotion
Me,
is
I
respectful.
tell me knowing it
I
wouldn't
know
be a
you. I
scratch.
think
It would be a grunge.
They would close the gym.
Grunchy over here.
Okay, but otherwise, how are you?
I'm well. It's. I feel like it's like the year now is really like it's busy.
We've entered the year.
We've entered. The other entering. The other. Yeah. So it's busy.
Okay, Joel, how are you doing?
I'm great.
We're a month what? As a 40-year-old?
3rd month.
Month 3? Is
I
it?
think. Do you count Jan? But it was okay. I guess the 2nd month.
Month 2. How
Yeah.
does it feel?
It's not very different. Although
But you know, technically, you're living your 41st year, right?
Yeah.
Welcome, thanks.
Yeah.
So you're in your minimum.
Yeah, let's keep moving.
You
in that
hit
direction.
40,
Yeah,
now
let's
you're
keep,
into.
Let's keep going there. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
keep going
so
there.
it's not month 2.
So when like when 1 year old, you're like, well, you really going to go second year?
You're
Thanks.
in your second year.
Yeah. I'm 40. I'm
It's just
14
hitting
months.
I am
I'm 14
not
months
40.
into 40.
Yeah.
Please.
No. Why do people say that with their children? Like 20 something months.
Disgusts
Then
me
you have to
so
start doing
much.
math.
disgusts
Can the
me so
child talk or not?
Isn't it because milestones are more
No, it's mostly
math-related
people who
than-
didn't do math properly who use that KB.
We've
Yeah.
alienated everyone. You, these
People who
stupid
didn't do
children.
that, that's me.
No one
No, but
says
I'm
my
much
child
better.
is 17
You're much
months.
better. What does much better mean?
I was near burnout last year.
Is it?
I only realized when I started unwinding that, oh, there's a lot that has to be unwound.
Joe, did you ever catch on that Joe was near burnout?
I wouldn't say burnout, but irritable is what the word I would use.
Oh. Or you caught it?
It was irritable if you prodded him,
Yeah.
but more he was like watching from a distance.
Yeah.
If you prodded him and pushed him, then snap.
Yeah.
There'd be something. You'd be like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was burning you?
It's more withdrawn.
What?
Withdrawn is the word I was using.
I was trying to be a strong person, carrying so many things. So now I'm allowing other people to help me.
Which you are.
Yeah.
A strong person who
Yeah,
tends to
but-
carry so many things.
Yeah, but eventually you teach people not to expect that you're going to need something. So I need to. I'm shifting. I'm not going to have to be the person I used to be. Slowly.
40 looks good on you. 40 looks
That's the new
good
theme song.
on you. Na, 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 da, na, da, na, da, na, da,
Joel
na.
is such a nice, vulnerable man. Can I share what you shared with me?
If
Can
you,
I say?
If you may.
Okay. So Joel entered my inbox and he told
You
me.
responded, eh?
Hey, what? He entered my phone inbox,
Okay.
not the one of Instagram, which comes late after a week. But he
You know how
told
to reach
me, the same thing he's saying. Oh, I feel like, I've been going through and I feel like I'm going to need to rely on my friends a little bit more. So expect me to rely on you a bit more. That was the sweetest thing in the men don't say men.
They don't.
Say such. I was so touched. No, says even women.
Even women.
Even
not
women don't say
yeah,
that.
strong, independent women never say. There are women who live their life in that KB.
But they show it.
The
They're
second
just-
half. Yeah, the second half. They don't know that first half. Of,
Yeah.
I tend to, I don't usually,
I
but
found that
oh, that's so nice. But
that-
he
yeah.
mentioned it in the last episode.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And remember what your response was?
Remind
He's
them.
going to end up having one friend. Actually, it will only be
One
us.
male friend.
One male
That's
friend.
true,
If he
that's
starts
true.
that KB with his male
Yeah.
friends,
Yeah.
I
that's
tried to
it.
hug. By the way, I think we should mention that we are being hosted by Prima. This is the
yes.
lovely
Oh my
home
God,
that
it's
we're
such a
in.
lovely
You have such a
space.
lovely home.
Thank you.
Yeah, and when the great engineer was here, I tried to hug him. He ran like I was smelly. What do you mean? What is that? So before today ends, I'm going to hug him.
He will allow.
Yeah.
He will allow.
Positive male
Can
relationships.
someone ask me how I'm doing?
Well, we continue.
Yeah, how are you? Bula, how are you? Oh, how are you? And how's your house project?
I'm very well, thank you guys.
How's your house project? How's that going?
My house
How's
project
how's
is going
marriage?
fine. Short-term marriage.
Yeah, how is short-term marriage?
Whatever it
It's
is, it's a
going
marriage.
also.
It's going well.
Yeah. It's going well.
How long have you been there now? 2 weeks?
3 weeks. By the time this episode airs, 4 weeks, 5
Yeah.
weeks. When are we airing?
4 to 5 weeks.
4 to 5 weeks by the time this episode.
Do you think now
Yeah,
has
we
it
get to
shown you? Do you
Easter.
think you can live there longer? Do you feel like you can live there for a year? A year have gone too far. Okay, 3 months.
Leave our avoidant friend, please.
No, but Pamela, I think it's because you do too much.
No, I think
You
it's because
in one
it's not
day,
home.
in one day you made French toast with eggs. Then you made, then you made goat stew. Then you must have burnout. Isn't that right? You must experience burnout when you do
That's
that.
why she's like, whoa.
Yeah, that's why you're like, I need my space.
No,
I can't sustain it.
You cannot
That's
sustain
true.
it. If you did French
can't
toast today,
sustain
The supermarket will clap every
eggs
time you come.
tomorrow,
Well, shooting
So
a
who will do
documentary.
that? Who will do that goat stew at lunch?
Farida.
We don't have Farid.
You will get a Farida.
Sylvester, the guy who works behind there.
For him, like for me, there's certain food I eat. Like
Yeah.
I'm not picky, but I want my food done.
Done well.
Yeah, when I'm having a meal,
And I think you can teach that.
I cannot Teach
You
what?
Teach
who?
that.
Teach who?
Somebody.
No, I've never had maid someone cook for me
Yeah.
in my house.
It's a belief.
Never.
It's a belief system.
Never. Yeah.
It's a
So you think I
belief
can
system.
start it now?
Yeah.
Anyway,
we are
yeah.
young.
Yeah.
No, I can't.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it. It's anyway.
So you can manage,
But we're okay. It has to be a certain. Like let me tell you by the way, if I'm being honest, I think I could manage. Like when I entered this home, I felt a spirit, an air of togetherness, of like oneness, of this is our space. When I'm at his home, I feel like it's his home. I don't know if you understand.
I do.
Yeah. I feel like if maybe
Because
I
it's
started
his
at home with
home.
somebody and I was in the thing together with him, and maybe. But I literally still feel like when I enter the house, like I'm in his home.
I'm in his home, I'm in his space.
I'm in his space. It's not very, very comfortable.
For you.
For me. Yeah.
Okay.
It's fine, but
Yeah.
that spirit of peace or I'm home.
Yeah.
It's not there. So, yeah.
It can
So
come
I
if
feel
you
like
want
it should
start
be
somewhere else, but
Anyway, it's all part of adulting, isn't it? It's all part of
That's how
adulting,
it works,
yeah.
yeah.
Which is
Segue.
our topic for the day. You guys, I want us to talk about adulting. The reason I want us to talk about this is because I feel like more often than not, in the past 3 to 5 years, I've had people
35 to
say
40.
35 to 4. No, but I've had it from other people, not like only
you've-
35-year-olds to 40-year-olds.
Oh, so it's not age.
No,
It's just the actual
If
time
anything, I
period.
hear it more from younger people.
Oh, nice. Okay.
The adulting is a scam, and I wish I was back in my childhood phase. I hear it more with younger than 35, actually.
Okay.
Not but I hear it a lot.
Okay.
A lot more. So I thought we would share our experiences in regard to that and really try to dissect if childhood was really the golden era or if in truth we were really just surviving.
Yeah.
If like the success of adults, of people in adulthood is just luck or the privilege we spoke about in a certain episode, or it's about smart choices and people are just not putting in the work.
Okay.
This multiple choice open is tough, my
I
friend.
know, all the above.
I feel like you already see where my bias is.
Yes.
Yeah.
We saw the emphasis.
Yeah.
Emphasis mine.
So I want us to share. Let's start slow and with our personal experiences. If you can think back, some of you may not even have to think back too far, but if you can think back at that moment or season or period in your life where you were like, what in the adulthood is this? Like, even in that moment as you were going through it, you were like, there's nothing that could have prepared me for it. And even when you think back, you're like, even if I went over it 3 times, it would still shock me.
Yeah.
As in, what in the adulthood is this? Joel, do you have a moment or a period or a season?
Let's just talk about the last 20 years. No, I think the earliest one was going to university and my father saying...
In Uganda or?
Of course, yeah. Makerere University.
Okay.
But I think with me leaving, I realized that I had been performing certain duties in the home that my parents had been relying on me to do in terms of taking care of my younger siblings. So they were mostly away and I was always at home. But when I left and then I had to go back home for my 2nd semester.
First year, second sem.
Yeah, because okay, I don't want to give too much information.
Go away.
So I went for university and I felt like I'm excited. I'm going to go for the first time. I'm going to be an adult. I'm going to do all my things, right? And while I was there, I thought I've left home. I'm going to be on my own doing things.
Yeah.
But it's at that point that my father had to leave the country for a while, and he was like, "You're now the man of the house."
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how many things he used to handle that I had to handle. Family issues. We had a family meeting at home. All the elders came and they are saying, there's a land squabble. You're supposed to be the one to help us figure out what's going to happen. I'm the youngest person in the room. Everyone is talking to me and I don't know what I'm going to do. I call my dad. He says, hey, you're the man of the house. Make the decision.
Wow.
So I was just thrown in the deep end. And okay, to make a long story short, I think I made some mistakes because I was trying to please everybody. And then I realized that there's something my experience taught me about. You don't want to have someone in your debt for too long if you're not close. So we helped them out with something. Then I started hearing rumors about that kid thinks he's very powerful because we had to come to him and he's now saying, oh, I'm going to grant this to you. In the house, when we were doing it, he was saying, thank you very much. You've given us this plot of land. For you, this one, we're going to sell this piece and give her money because she needs to get her medication done. But the feeling from what was happening in that house and then what was being said when we went back to the village, I almost didn't go back to the village for about 5 years. Because when I went back, they were like, that's the proud kid who thinks he can tell his parents what to do. He's the crown prince. So I bring that back to go, I learned that family, extended family can be it's a political thing. As much as we don't like to say it, love can be ambivalent. You can care about people, but they can also cause
we were doing well.
The first word, you can put here the meaning of the word ambivalent. The thing is that if you care about people, they will frustrate you. And the expectations of us, they thought, oh, you guys live in a nice place. You should be doing all these things for us. Then when we did the things, it wasn't gratitude that you get. It was, you guys think you're better than us. So at that point, I tried to ask myself, was I doing it because I thought I was going to get gratitude back, or I was doing it because it's the right thing? And at that time, I really wanted the gratitude, but now I'm grateful that I did it. Like he said to me afterwards when he came back, like, you just do things as an adult, not expecting thanks. And he took me back to the story I always tell of when I told him, I love you the first time. Came and said, I love you, Dad. And then he swallowed his pineapple and said, thanks for the support. And afterwards he said, you can't thank me for doing my duty. I am your father. For you to thank me, it's like I'm supposed to do it. So it gave me the lesson, I think, in adulthood. There are certain things you're going to have to do, and don't expect thanks. It has to be done. Do it. Yeah.
But what's that?
Was that your 20? What period of your life?
I was 19, 20. I was 20.
20.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No, in my head, I'm just like, because that's a very recurrent story, right? Like people helping people, and then you expect what, and then they never, and then, you know, all of that. In my head, I'm like, what's that about? Like,
I think in families, isn't it weird? Like as a lawyer, when someone is killed, the first thing, the spouse. They always think the people who are closest to you, because as close as you get, you build up frustrations and expectations that can't be said. And then there are power dynamics. But African culture, as I see it, we try our best to smooth those things. Whatever elder comes, you go, oh yeah, you're the best. So we perform saying that you're my equal, but in reality, you're not. And it's easy to abuse upwards. If you perceive this person has more than you, I have the right to insult you. And you just have to take it. And this, for me, that's the dynamic that
it does happen.
I feel.
I think it's natural. Isn't it natural for people? Why do you think it is taught that give without expecting in return? It means it's natural. It means it's natural for you to give and expect in return. And then the lesson has to be taught in retrospect.
Actually, my question is not why do you expect?
But why does that thing come?
I'm just like, why do they behave that way?
That's
That's my question. It really, I'm just like, because everyone who has given and all of that always has that story of, you never, there are very few that will either show gratitude or that. I'm like, what's that about?
But me, I've always found that problem. I have said this before in this podcast. I've always found that problem with a group of people that does not have. When that dynamic happens with people of the same social status, it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
When the social status is different, there's an entitlement that comes from people of a different income status or a socioeconomic status, that it becomes, I'm entitled. And if you don't, you're the problem. When you give and that something goes wrong, usually the person I watch Judge Judy a lot, and there's a term she has for it that in simple terms is the person who gives always ends up the one in the wrong, at fault. The person who does for. If you're doing for people who are more vulnerable than you, that power dynamic, for them, they don't see it as a power. They see it as you're privileged, so you must.
I believe that.
Also, it's how you target, right? Because some people will say, like, I've been pitied, and I hate the look of someone looking at you with pity.
Why would they
Even though they are being, like, you might think you're being...
Why would they pity you?
Let me ask you, like, as a mother, this is the best example I'd had. My cousin was telling me that her daughter no longer is in her things. Like, they used to hang out all the time, but now she's a teenager, she's like, please, I'm my own stuff. And I started noticing that she's always harassing her. Hey, can you come and watch this thing? Come. It's like, I would rather you be here and annoyed and I'm going to be with you than you be away.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, why is it? It's like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's not intentional, but I want to be in her world. And the only way I can get her is by being antagonistic. So she's trying to show love, but this person is receiving it as, I hate it.
Yeah.
So I think even when you pity somebody, it's like these financial inclusion things. When I worked in that space, you come and say, I'm now going to give you the answers.
It will
You're keeping that power dynamic. So you to receive it, for you to feel a sense of self-esteem, you would rather go, I don't even need it, but you're taking it still. So how do you take it and not, you rather extend the anger outwards, you project it outwards.
So there's power play in there. There's a,
It is. Okay. There's a certain dignity that they want to re-establish, that they feel has been lost.
Yes.
And then how else can they do it? Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I also went through, my tough season actually was for me through my 20s. Like, my 20s, nothing could have ever prepared me for the fast-paced life that I lived in my 20s.
Because you had pleasure.
Hey!
You had a child at 15.
Anyway, let me start for you. I graduated at 21, got my first job at 22, got married at 23, got my first child at 24, separated at 25, went through a divorce at 26,
went to Manchester,
left to go to Manchester,
such a cabbage.
and left my child. Going to Manchester was not the problem.
Yes,
It was long distance parenting. I had come from learning, guys, we all know that science of your prefrontal cortex is not developed until 25 and above, plus or minus, plus 2 years.
Yeah.
They throw you in the depth of trying to become a housekeeper, a wife.
You don't know anything.
You've just started your job,
Your
your
life,
job, and your first kamane.
And you're now saying, what are we going to eat?
Then now I'm done wondering, what are we going to eat today and tomorrow?
And you're saying,
and I was pregnant immediate, as in I got pregnant the day I got married. Is when I got pregnant. So I gave birth, the whole marriage.
Was that intentional though? Was that intentional?
Yeah, because I had chosen not to get a child first. I wanted to go and study.
Okay.
But the man who married me said,
dear, let's do it.
The progression. You first give us let's first have a child.
Okay,
we
then
do that, then you can go.
Okay.
I was like, so I have to do it immediately, so that I can go.
You are a project manager.
You
are a project manager.
The wrong child. She's like, which is the name?
I wasn't going to go through that hassle of now. Now we have to debate about it.
Yeah, we've now agreed.
And let me tell you, I learned in that time that there's a reason why they make you get married very young.
Yeah.
Because
you're still silly.
You're still, like ordinarily, if I was 30, no man can tell me that I allow.
Yeah.
If my real goal was I have to go and study, I have a plan. Then you come in and say, no, that plan, no. And that plan, we had discussed it before marriage, let me tell you, and approved and stamped. Not something we had just stamped.
Yeah.
The plan
You
changed
didn't
in the
buy
marriage. The plan changed after the engagement.
Okay.
The plan to go and study first.
Okay.
We had always known I was going to go and study first. But when we got engaged, the KB started to change. That's when I realized, the sooner I get this child, the better that is out of the way. Yeah. Then we can embark on,
Meanwhile, you're
back on the academy. 23 years old. The roller coaster. There's nothing in the world that even if I went through that period again, I would have to just go through it again, as it was.
Yeah.
Like, it took so many tolls.
Yeah.
Emotional, mental, physical, psychological. Yeah. You guys, when you're doing all that while trying to raise a child, because a mother's first, naturally, my instinct is to look after my child. Yeah. It's so difficult to look after. Yet I was a child. I was trying to look after myself.
That's right.
Then I'm looking after this child. Then now there's that part of when I decide. And you see, the thing is, I think the part of the marriage, the child marriage, I call it child marriage.
Yeah.
That's definitely child marriage, guys. When you're still, you're just, your eyes are now open to the world. And someone immediately closes you in. Then there was the journey of... So there's this journey of where I decided I'm going through a divorce. It was so difficult. Yeah. It was so at that age where there's nobody. My mom literally looked at me and told me, Pumla, you're the first divorcee I know. Everyone I know, they are not happy. They live separately. Or they still stay there together, but we know they are not together. Yeah. You even have a paper to show
You brought in the law.
You brought the state back into your business.
Yeah.
As in, it was just, and me, I was just going.
Yeah.
I was like, that was not even that very difficult. It was that struggle of now.
Pumla, you're a doer. You're a big time
Yeah, me,
doer.
it has to be done. I was
Yeah.
seeing ahead.
Yeah.
I was looking very fun. I was like, I have seen my story in many older adults where they had to sacrifice at least a decade to get to a certain place. I didn't have that. I was like, I'm never going to sacrifice years of my life in a bad situation. So that in 20 years we say, when you're there in your anniversary, then you say, oh, bandage tuise mu bandange. Ngabe badde bingi. I
like,
swear
that
I'll
will
never
never be
give
your
that
story.
stupid speech.
Yeah.
It can never be me. Where you're that romanticizing of struggle,
Of suffering.
of suffering.
Yeah.
You know, marriage. Every speech. You know, we went through ups and downs. But whenever I hear people saying that, KB, we went through ups and downs. You know, like every couple. I'm like, why are you highlighting it? If it's normal, why are you highlighting it? It means the downs were really down, and you were there and you stuck to it. And great for you, good for you. You made a decision, no judgment, great. But it could never be me.
Yeah.
So mine was just the fact that I was not yet mature enough to go through anything.
Yeah.
I feel like if I had done that in my 30 to 40, it would have been a different story.
I have a question.
100%.
Sure. Yeah.
100%. Especially knowing you.
Yeah, it would definitely have been.
Can I ask?
Different.
And maybe you also have an answer. So,
You never know.
at that time, do you feel, was anyone warning you about it that you didn't hear, like maybe some older relatives? The reason I'm asking is,
The
like my
extended
mom
ones
got
who are
Which part?
entitled.
Which
no,
part?
like you were saying, I was quite young. I was getting married at this age.
Everyone
But
told
at
me
that
not to
time,
get married.
Everyone,
No,
including
that's what
your
I'm saying.
parents.
So what made you go
Everybody
no?
told me
Including
not
your
to
parents.
get married. Have you met me? Have you met me?
Yeah. So you were just saying no because you wanted it.
No,
I'm
no,
just
no.
curious.
So I didn't ever want to get married, by the way. That
Yeah,
has
that's
always
why-
been my
that's the-
stand.
yeah.
I loved the man. I was afraid to lose him.
Okay.
That was all.
So you did
I got
because
married
that's what
because
you
he
wanted
proposed to me.
Okay.
And I didn't want to lose him. I loved him so much. So that was
Yeah.
the real issue. So I said yes to him, but I was so scared when I was saying the yes. I was like, oh my God, what is this? We had also talked about that.
Yeah.
That we don't have to get married.
Then
he
he proposed.
Like he was.
Did you wait
Yeah.
for you to finish coursework at least?
And had I finished? Yeah.
I remember I went to do over makeup for my wedding. And I found another babe also doing makeup. That was makeup trials. And she's like, hey, even you are getting married. I'm like, hey, even me, I'm getting married. Then she was like, me, let me tell you, it was my birthday. And he proposed. His family was there. My family was there. Of course, I said yes.
That's pressure.
I was like, do you love him? She said, I don't know.
No.
I could not believe it. I'm like, you're
You're
going
speaking
to
like a
marry-
Westerner. Was it
Yes,
a
she was a
Westerner?
Westerner.
Your accent had
Inside.
changed
Yeah,
a
Papa,
bit.
she was a real Westerner. I was like, what do I have?
Western Uganda.
Western Uganda. Yeah.
You have international people.
Westerner.
I was like,
Oh, no. Yeah, so me, that was it. But I felt like in that period, if there was a lesson I learned, it was my resilience.
Yeah.
That's when I knew that
I can manage.
You
human
made it
beings,
through.
we are resilient. Actually, me, I think it's a woman thing. I thought women are just resilient. You just go through.
What about all those men who have led wars?
Who have done what?
Who have led wars?
For what reasons have they led those wars? Just to stupidity. It's really nothing. Usually it's a woman or just ego or just, what are the reasons?
Okay.
Bambi, the
I know
the Native Americans who are invaded. Oh, we're fighting for women. Our land. Our land. They died for their stupid women. Our land.
men have tried
Smallpox
to
is
fight
being
for
thrown
him.
on them.
Anyway, yeah, no, it's not a gender thing. It's not a gender issue. I just learned that within us as human beings, as people, we are resilient.
We are.
And you learn your resilience when you're pushed against the wall. That it's in all of us. I believe it's in all of us.
Yeah.
It just gets tested differently, and it's up to you. You reach a point and you move.
Yeah.
You just, I need to move. For me, I think I felt like my 20s were so tumultuous. It was literally survival.
Yeah.
I just needed to get to the other side and keep my dependent alive.
Yeah.
Healthy and alive.
Yeah.
And guess what? Here we are.
We are.
Because I feel like that
He's
phase
16
in
this
life,
year, no?
literally,
He's even my
16
height.
this year. We are like this. I am here seated, I think,
Yeah.
because of that period.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful for it.
Yeah.
There was no manual,
Yeah.
but I made it through, learned my resilience, and it's taken me through.
Yeah.
The person you see, this woman,
Is your 20 year?
that period, I feel like it had to happen. It was written in my story.
Yeah.
It had
Yeah.
to happen.
Yeah.
Prima?
I don't know if I'm ready.
Prema asked to be the
I asked to be the last.
Prema asked to be last,
You know,
so I'm attentive.
when you asked this question in my head, I was like,
Shall I say it?
Am I ready to have this conversation? I don't know if I'm ready to have the full conversation, but I can have a bit of the conversation.
Okay.
Yo. My heart is even.
We're here for it.
You're here for it. I think the one thing that nobody in the world could have prepared me for is my fertility journey.
I know.
It's not something you even think about.
Honorable
Just
members.
like we shall move.
Honorable members. Fertility. I'm like, first of all, fertility and journey should not be
Thank you
there.
so much for coming.
Fertility should be there, then the journey should be to
There's a
wherever you're
destination, you
going.
have to
Ooh, nothing could. Let me tell you.
Wow.
Let me tell you.
That
see,
is,
you hear stories and you see people. First of all, I think it's in the same, like maybe marriage. So I have a friend who has taken quite long to get married, and she's always been on the WhatsApp group of you guys. May I want marriage?
Okay.
So she's now like 40, slightly over 40, and she's like, you guys, I cannot believe, like in all of you, I should be the married one. You understand? And she is, like but she's just not met the person. So it's like it just shocks her, and I think that's how I feel about my fertility journey. Because first of all, in my head, I was like, you hear that it can be a story, it's not obvious, it's not, but it can never come to you.
Me, like at my door.
In
my
you understand? Like life, you've checked. So I remember, of course, me in my head, I was like, okay, we're going to get married. Then after that, we'll have 1 year, right? We'll have 1 year of getting to know each other, and then we'll have children. Dear. No, first of all, in that 1 year, I was swearing by days. You guys will swear by days. Go and they check you. And the guys would ask me, I'd be like, I am so sure. Oh, you count like this. Oh, you count like this. Whoa.
First, wait, what?
No. Because of course,
men are lost.
The men are lost. So birth control. Because of birth control,
Yeah.
they are birth control. So some people were sure. So I think at that time, I was like, I don't need birth control. I can rely on my days. But it's because there was an issue, right? And so I think you go through phases. So you try the first year, you're like, I'm trying. It's not happening, you're like, it will happen. Then you try again, then you're like, so I've gone through all the motions, right? I've gone through denial, then I've gone through...
Like the stages of grief.
Yeah, you understand. I've gone through denial. I don't even know if it's, like they tell you the stages are not linear.
Yeah.
So you go through denial, then you go back, then you deny some
To
more.
bargain, yeah.
Meanwhile, life
Yeah.
is happening, and that's what adulting is. Adulting is that life is happening.
Life keeps
You're getting a job, you're getting I don't know what, you're getting what. You guys are asking you, how is life? Life is okay. We are doing interviews. You're saying, children, when are they coming? Year 1. Children, when are they coming? Year 2. Children, when are they coming? Year 3. Then you're like, honorable members, what is happening? So I've gone through, I think I've gone through denial, then I've gone through, as in, I don't even know what that phase is. Then I've gone through,
Anger, there's the
I don't think I've been angry. Then I've gone through, I haven't been angry, I haven't. Then I've gone through acceptance. Then I've gone through the other radical acceptance where I'm like, together, I'm going to ask the two of us, just the two of us, and we're going to live life. Then I've gone through, but I'm 35. Then now you understand, like you go through, then you accept it. Then on your birthday, as guys are saying, your happy birthday, you're like, but I get to die, turn 36, honorable members, is this? Yeah, so it's a real journey. I think for me, and I wish, I think people experience it differently. So I've seen some people who are very, and like your mind is completely, like
Consumed
that
by
is
it.
consumed by it. That hasn't been my story. I think my story has been bouts. Like I move on, then I have bouts where I'm like, usually around my birthday, I'm like, whoa. The time I around your birthday, because it's reminding you of your age. You're like, members, let's do something. Then I make appointments to see all doctors.
And you actually go and
I go, then I don't go back. Then after that, I'm like, I made the appointment, let me go back. You understand? So it's a whole, and even that is a reaction on its own. You understand? It's a bit of denial. It's a bit of, So that has been, I think for me, nothing.
You know that's real adulting?
Yes.
Because when we were younger, we were doing everything in
To
our
a
power
point.
to not
get pregnant.
Yeah.
You
just be there praying. When the period comes, you're like,
completely. So that has really, let me see, what are my
idiots.
lessons? And for me, I'm still.
Have you got pressure from outside?
Not
so
at all.
I've always felt,
people around you,
since you decided to be honest today, let me be honest on the podcast.
Yeah.
I won't have to be honest also. No, continue.
Then you'll be honest.
I've always felt like everybody I know who's gone through a fertility struggle or journey I see.
Yeah.
I see that struggle in them. I see
Yeah.
that suffering, that yearning, that like I look at them and I feel bad for them. Like I feel why is that the cross you gave them to carry?
Yeah.
Such a huge cross for someone to want it. For a woman to want and not have.
Yeah.
But you're the only person. I've always felt for that pin to drop with you, but it just doesn't come.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I always feel like maybe
So
I should ask you, are you okay?
I
Or
am.
you're just
No, I really am. And you see, even that thing, first of all, for me, I feel like that reaction, I'm like, what a sad reaction.
Yeah.
What a sad, even for the person experiencing it. I'm like, life is so big.
Yeah.
You know, life is so big. I feel like, what a sad reaction. So even when people ask me, because I can tell. And I think that's why I was saying, you know, I think you had asked, how are you coping? That's why I'm like, you guys, I don't know if I don't have Jesus. Repeat these words after me. Heavenly Father, I receive you today.
Can you zoom in?
Because I feel like I feel
He's not on the person. He's in my heart.
No, because for me, honestly, the truth, like 100%. I know that sometimes people can ask, and I know they're always well-meaning. Some people can ask,
but they come
how
with a
are
tone.
you? You're like, I'm fine. How are you guys? We are fine. How are you guys really? I'm like, we are really great.
It's okay.
Like,
how are you?
I'm like, honorable member. Open your
we are
mouth.
okay.
Open your mouth. The truth of the matter
is when there are many people walking around.
Yeah, the truth of the matter is I'm okay. I'm okay about it, and I don't know. I cannot assign it to a particular thing that maybe I can't. But the truth of the matter is that I'm okay, right? It's just that even yesterday, I had a conversation with one of my mentors, and he was asking me, and it's a guy, and he was asking me, he's like, so what are you doing about this? Because you also need to start thinking about this area of life, whatever. So I'm going through the conversation with him. I'm like, yeah, it's a journey. You try, what, and so we're having that conversation. And I'm like, but you know, it's not the be and end all of life, and not in a cynical way. It's not in a cynical way, because there's some, you can get resigned, but it's not even in a resigned way. It's not even in a cynical way. It's in a, do I want it? I'm lucky to have had the time to decide that I want to. You understand? I think some people, it's a stage of life, I want to, but I've also been given the opportunity to know that even without it, you're a wholesome person. Yeah. You're still wholesome. You're still wholesome 100%. And and I think one of the biggest things I've learned on this journey is never, it's my motto. There's a friend of mine who told me, Prima, you need to print that cutting and put it in your house. Never, ever reduce your life to one experience. Never say that now I don't have children. I'm like Banange. I have a beautiful
I'm incomplete.
marriage. I have a wonderful job. I have wonderful friends. I have thriving. As
You have PPJ.
I have PPJ.
You have Busby.
You understand? So you can't. Or you can be there. You can be there.
Joel really wants, I say him.
You're not married and you feel like so I think that's the one thing I've learned, that you cannot reduce your life to this one experience. But also in relation to adulting, adulting means you take responsibility, right? So it means, and taking responsibility here doesn't mean what's my fault. Taking responsibility is what's the most I can do about it. Do your best. So for me, that's the approach I've taken. What's the best I can do about it? I'll do my best about it. And then really good, you have given me your promises. Over to you, while we continue with these other good things you're doing. So I think that's my...
Okay, I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Because I literally feel from you exactly what you're saying. Yeah. And I will not lie, I've had people ask me about you. Yeah. And then I have to rewind back and I'm like, maybe I need to be asking more questions, but I don't get it. And when they ask me, I say, she's okay. Yeah. I'm like, but Pumla, maybe you're just not asking. You're not maybe really getting, in touch with her. Maybe there's, I'm like, you guys, I don't feel it from her. I just don't. Maybe there are people who
at all.
That's good for you. Joel, do you want children, by the way?
I've wanted children once before with the partner I was with. Okay. So for me, it's about if I'm with the person.
The right person.
Yeah, but just having a child.
Just because.
Sometimes there's on Chanja Road, there's an older gentleman, he's about 55, and he's gotten a new daughter. She's now about 4. He's always jogging and wearing some black tights. I saw him running with her. Yeah. And just the look she had of I'm copying him, I was like, I think I have ovaries.
You're like, my
I'm
ovaries.
feeling my ovaries going. I'm like,
How old is that guy?
Program and be like, we are going to do this. This is how we
Busby
dance.
with his 10 children is
Busby,
like,
I
what
can give you
ovaries?
I can give you 2 of mine.
so
I think
So the answer is yes.
yeah,
Yes.
the desire is there, but it depends on the relationship. Like you said, I was thinking about what you're talking about. I think it's actually unfortunate because as a guy, everyone just assumes anytime you can get
Yeah.
it. So I never get that experience, but like my classmates who have not yet gotten to that point, and
The girls.
it's serious. Yeah, it's serious when people don't joke about it. People joke about me being single.
Yeah.
People joke about me not having kids. They cannot joke about
a
the
girl.
other
Girl,
lady. They're
that's
like,
so
it's not
true.
human. I can't approach
By the
it.
way,
They can't. You can't
That's
even
why I know.
ask.
So it's like a hallowed ground. So
Yeah.
And when I was speaking to them about it, I
Is it
said,
hallowed
"Do you
or
get
hallowed? Why do we say hallowed be your name? But we like
No,
it's
that one we
hallowed
were taught
ground.
by funny people. Westerners, hallowed, your VTC, Mazadaka. But
That's so true, by the way.
So
You can never-
you're
yeah, we
swimming in
never-
a certain set of social relations where, as a woman, there's this definition of you have to have a child. For a guy, they're like, "Gwe, can you kube?"
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes.
Now, if that's missing, you almost have to have this resistance to go, I'm going to be tough. So
Yeah.
there are some ladies I know, older than me, that I work with, who they are everyone says that woman is so tough. And I remember one evening asking one of them, like, do you know people think you're very tough? She was like, do you know how people used to come to me? Asking all kinds of invasive questions.
Yeah.
Hey, have you tried? Let me give you this number to try and get. Have I
Get
asked
some
you?
herbs.
Yeah, did you try these herbs? What? Like, I've not asked you for.
Yeah.
Who has told you I
Yeah.
need it? Even though I have the feeling, for you to presume that something is missing from my life, it's what used to bother her. So I feel like when you said that you were the first divorcee that your mom had met, hopefully it's going to make it easier for younger girls and women as they come up, because that social stigma is, unless you're very strong, like you're a very strong person, you're a very strong person, but still I think it
No, but
affects
you see that I agree and disagree a little bit. That thing of I don't know, and then I don't know if it's how I'm made, but I think that you have to be on the other person's. You have to.
You can
enter their
understand where it's
shoes,
coming from.
right?
Okay.
First of all, you have some friends that they're your friends. They're not very close, but they're your friends. They're well-meaning. They don't know how to have the conversation, right?
yeah.
Some people just don't know how to ask.
Yes.
But there are very few. I've seen a few. There are few mean people in the world, and that's why for me I keep wondering. Like I know that I will go, like, depending on how whatever way the journey turns out, I will be very public about it at a certain point. Not overly, because the internet is not a very kind place always, so you have to be ready for both the lashback.
the nonsense as well.
Yeah. So in my head, I'm just like, you must step into the other people's shoes. So sometimes I'll even see a person wanting to introduce the topic,
But they don't know how.
but they don't know how, and I will help them.
Yeah.
I will help
Yeah,
you
but
bring
you
it up.
see, the reason I feel like you're able to do that is because of the place that you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see, like,
Other
somebody
people's
can
tongue
tell you
sensitive.
something,
Yeah.
and because of where you are, you respond really differently. You interpret it differently. It just happens naturally.
Yeah.
So that's why as we just stay clear.
Yeah.
So I always try to tell people that there are exactly what you say. You guys, there are very few mean people in the world.
Yeah.
People don't come to you from a place of meanness, and
They're
you
not
have
trying to.
deliver is just poor.
Yeah.
Or even if they have delivered well, sometimes it's because of where
you are.
You receive it
badly.
poorly.
Yeah.
It's difficult for you to receive it in a good place.
Yeah.
You feel like you feel overwhelmed, like, and 5 people could have asked you the same thing, and now it's the 6th that
Yeah.
you abuse
Yeah. Yeah.
because you're just tired of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
So it's a difficult.
Yeah.
I agree.
place
I
to-
agree. And the truth of the matter is that topic is, there's so much stigma about it, and my worry is the more silence there is about it,
Yeah.
the more we propagate the stigma.
Yeah.
So that's why in my head I'm like,
People can
what?
see.
Like, just speak out a little bit. Speak out a little bit. Like, when I meet people and there are conversations I've had with people, and they're like, oh, where are you going? And then I'm like, oh, I have to go. I have a doctor's meet for, and they're like.
She said it.
She said,
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I'll be back, and they cannot believe it. But in my head, I'm like, it must become normal, because it's life.
And
It's
it
life.
helps-
It's
it helps
adulting.
Other people.
It's adulting.
Even if it's not
Yeah.
your goal, it does
Yeah.
help other people. Speaking of children,
Yeah.
let's go to that statement that people like to say.
Malimba.
That I wish I could have stayed in my childhood because I'm tired of paying these damn bills.
It depends on what childhood you had.
That is true.
That
That is true. I feel that, I'll start with mine and then you guys can tell me what you think. I feel like we have forgotten how limiting limiting childhood can be.
Is.
And that is why we romanticize it. But mostly because we have forgotten.
Okay.
And I do agree that it depends on the childhood you had. Mine was really strict.
Strict.
My childhood was strict. Strict is relative because some people were beaten with belts.
Okay.
Others were locked outside of
My
the house.
God.
Okay.
None of those happened to me. I was brought up in love.
Sorry to
Yeah.
you.
What was
But
strict?
strict was because
You couldn't go to
I'm a free spirit.
That's
So while it depends on the childhood you had, it also depends
Who
on
you
the
are.
person you
you
are.
are.
Because when I talk to my siblings are rules followers. Yes, they had their struggles
All of them?
in their childhood.
Even-
It's only me and Brenda who are not,
Yeah.
who was perceived as rule breakers.
Yeah.
But let me tell you guys, even now I can tell you, if we go back in time and you can see that the rules I was breaking, they were
There were silly
nonsensical
rules. Yeah.
They were the threshold, they were too stringent.
Yeah.
And I was expected to live by a certain standard.
Yeah.
Because I was raised by parents who were of a certain standard. And you just had to attain the quality and the threshold that they set for you. It was not a time when, like now, we understand our children are different.
Yeah.
So we have to approach them differently in parenting.
Yeah.
because now we have 2 children. Those
The
days
other
of
when you have
5, 6,
7.
7, they're even looking after other
Wouldn't,
your
did
uncle's
your mom used to call
children
you
and your
as
other- my father, my mother always
through
called
all
me.
the
She always knew me because my name was always
Yeah. You're like, you know that when you call that child and you're like,
me. My name, when it was me, it was me. It was always me being called. So I felt like I was suffocated. I
Yeah.
was suffocated. When I tell people, you guys, I would rather be broke
Than
than
be a
be
child.
beaten again.
Did
The
your parents
fact
beat you?
that me personally, because I was a yaye,
Yeah.
I was the only child. Please note, I was the rules breaker, but I was the one who was never beaten. I was the most manipulative person. Discipline in our home was for our father.
Yeah.
I was my father's favorite.
Favorite.
So I manipulated him so much. My older brother, and I've apologized on the internet before. I apologized to him. He got all my strokes.
Yeah.
Because his father raised him militaristically.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to take care of me. So when I went the other side,
First come here,
it
you.
was him.
Yeah.
He was the problem. My mother would send me to him. He would pick me out. You know those memes we see
Meanwhile,
these days,
from like you're the
where the
first
father
born.
tells, "I'm the first
First girl. That thing.
Where the
your
father
brother is the
my
first
brother
born.
is the first
Yeah.
born. Those memes on social media where the mother is quarreling, then the father takes the daughter away in the room. My father would do nothing.
I need to check my
As
TikTok.
in,
Yeah.
I think that's why my father was telling him, like, don't get married, because
Yeah.
he knew I was going to be a problem
Yeah.
for somebody else's son.
Yeah.
Come and buy. So I went through like that, like I was, but that beating, but I was beaten at school, massively, a lot.
In which school?
In primary.
In Kampala parents.
Oh my God.
They used to beat
Oh
children.
my
Yeah.
goodness.
You know things have changed, man.
The teachers would
I
even
thought they
get
used to
tired
beat us
and
on
employ the
Buganda Road.
drivers.
No.
That-
Oh, Alan School. Alan School. Do you remember Alan School? Where about they had the
Lady of Hope, where?
Okay, those are the first.
They beat us. They beat us. Now me, they beat me because I was
KPS?
every rule I broke. Yeah. They used to beat us. The teachers would get tired and call the drivers.
Why
The
haven't you
drivers
wrapped
would,
your
they would
book?
call the support staff.
They would,
Yeah. The caterers would beat us.
that is so wrong.
They are tired. The headmaster would get tired and he says, now I'm tired. Mpitire oli male. Ndida ku male.
Near
The
Jane.
askari at their gates would come and beat you.
To then let them there touch Jane.
Me, I have said in my life that you can never take me back to childhood for whatever reason, because now I make my own decisions and you cannot beat me. I can say what I want and you can't beat me.
Yeah.
What
And
are you
your
beating me
adulthood
about?
has turned
I'm
out
an adult,
well.
yeah. And see, even in past all the things that I did when my mother, if she can write a book, but see, I'm here. I'm a normal human being. As in, I've survived. We are all okay. No one died.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell was that? So I feel like adulthood is a trade-off. I feel like you now have responsibility. You have control over your life, but you also must take accountability and responsibility. And the issue is in how you manage that, do that dance.
Yeah.
That how you do that dance and balance it out is what decides how your adulthood is going to go. That's what I feel. But I honestly feel stuck in stone, and that one I will not change. We romanticized childhood, and it was fake. I would rather pay bills any day than go back there.
Now we see how
But
things
Paula,
work.
you see, do you think your son will feel that way?
My son right now is dying to be an adult. He hates control. Because even me, much as I know that he's also like a free spirit, free-ish, he's not so much because he's more of his father, so he's a little guarded on his boundaries. So it's the nurture that has made him see that his mom does what she wants, and he wants that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I see that desire.
Yeah.
And I see him trying to push the boundaries, and it's me who says, I'm sorry, no.
You're a child.
Yeah, you're a child. That one you can't do. But I allow the things which they refused me to do, which I felt were okay. My son does.
So so the real question is, do you prefer control with provision?
Or
No.
Control. Do you prefer
I want
control?
control.
No.
Yeah,
Do you prefer? No. No. I'm saying, do you prefer to be controlled versus and provided for, or to be free and you provide for yourself?
That one.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
I would rather be free and provide for the whole community. And provide for Nyakwero. By the way, guys, we're in Nyakwero.
Nakwero. Yeah, and it's okay.
I would rather be free. And they tell me that now you have a task to fundraise and provide and go to work every day and toil your skin and remove your hair and make sure the community of Nyakwero is fed.
Yeah.
I am not going back to childhood. Yet I was never beaten. But
thankfully, I don't think that return can happen.
I was beaten. I was also imagining
You were beaten.
I was so wild as a child. There's a time my dad used to beat me so much. There's a time my mom said, please. I remember. It's one of my core memories as a child. I remember my mom asking my dad, imagine as a child, and she's asking him, do you think this is not your child? Because my dad used to beat me with a belt.
Well, clearly not the favorite.
No, I was wild. I was wild.
You
Do
were?
I was the youngest girl, but then I would do the wildest things. Like everyone thinks we are sleeping. I have led my sisters on a walk in Nakwero.
It has to be.
You understand? Like I've taken. You understand? Like
From Bukoto.
then they start looking for the children. Prima comes back and she's brought all her sisters.
After they're
back.
singing songs.
You guys. You understand? Then I had this.
Why you dirty like boys?
You're complaining
playing
that we
with
are
mud.
dirty, we've been, I don't know what. Then first of all, my dad is like, he has only girls. And then he has a child outside saying the other like vulgar Luganda word. He's like, who is that?
That you've been with that.
I've had kids outside there saying, even me.
Is that my daughter? Is that my daughter calling people goats?
It was worse than a
No, of
god.
course, I'm
I was
PG.
abusing their mothers. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? This is a family show.
Understood.
Thank you.
So just know I was such a wild child. So I also think I've always had that thing of freedom. Like I've also always, but I don't know. I don't know if I feel like as a child I lived as a child, and it was okay at that point.
Okay, Saint Paul.
Shut up.
Christian people will know. Will know. Okay, continue.
No, as a child I was proper, and then I feel like as an adult, because there are also adults who are living like children. I feel like if you are depending, if you're expecting certain things from your parents at a certain age, sweetheart, wake up. You understand? Like as an adult, you must, you know, So now I feel like as a child I enjoyed that cut time. Of course, I also wanted the freedom, but you're a child. But if I had to choose between the two, I would choose adulthood.
Definitely adulthood.
Any day.
So do you think people have forgotten? Do you think people just talk because other people are talking?
So,
Joel, go.
It might be privilege.
yeah.
Okay,
It
good.
might be privilege.
I was thinking about
I
this
want
the other
to
day,
hear
right?
that now.
Like if you look at the homes we came in, we are very fortunate people.
Joel, you oversaid that.
wait,
Cutting.
wait,
Guys are going
We,
to
the
see.
three of us?
Yeah, I'm just saying we're fortunate.
Already, some friend already sent me a message saying, how you plan the kids?
I just thought the plan was only for 20 years. I should have gone the whole way.
Now you 40
now
years
you plan
old.
for yourself. I've planned for you up to here. No, I think I hear that a lot as well from especially younger people. And I saw a post on TikTok, like a comment that was saying something along the lines of, you read statistics, but you never connect them to people's lives. That's why when people are doing charities, they show you a child, they show you an individual, because people connect to people's stories. Now, if you look at the statistics of this country, things are bad. There are people, every year, people are leaving the university, working hard. And at that point, when you tell the person the story, I think what you've said is very true. It is your responsibility to take care of what you're supposed to do. But I use this analogy of if you found a child in a home that was not being fed well and expected to act proper, I think you'd look at the parents and say, what's up?
Yes.
So we've sort of removed the society around and said, yeah, you should. If you've gotten all these things, you should be doing well. Now everyone is internalizing. Now that internalizing makes you want to go back to a time when all you had to do was be a child. Someone was feeding you. Even when you look at the movies that are coming out now, they're all nostalgic. There's trying to take you back to a time when you didn't have those issues. So you're right, they're romanticizing. But that romanticizing is you trying to escape where you are now. And that's why I like that thing of prophilicity, because when you see adults, you don't see how it feels. You know, like I would look at my parents and think, they can't have a problem. He has 50K. He can enter the store and just say, give me all the gum. All the chewing gum. Like the kids at home, I just come through and I'm like, I'm going to buy KFC. He's like, my life is the best. Like for him, that's all I need. But he can't look at me and see that I have issues. And then as a parent, you don't want to show your child that you imagine your father comes home, we are finished. You want to be like, man, we are done. So you get this picture of adulthood that is not quite what it is, because you see your parents as great. So you expect, I shall grow up and I shall finally have arrived. Then that arrival doesn't come. Where? The arrival doesn't come through. So I think it's a combination.
The two boys, the two P7s, are on their P7.
No, anyway.
Of arriving.
Alan and Joe.
So my point is, I think it's especially going to be harder for younger and younger generations. One, the number of people who are leaving the workforce, people are staying in their jobs. There aren't many new jobs coming through. So think about it. You're always going, why aren't you getting a job? No one ever says, hey, no one is hiring. Then they'll tell you be an entrepreneur.
Then
the guys, and being an entrepreneur, you can't have a society of entrepreneurs. It cannot happen. You need so much more to make a system that can allow someone to have a business. So I sympathize to a certain extent why. I understand why they're romanticizing
so you think it's a deeper question?
I know it's much deeper. I think we locate it in, I have the ability to say I'm going to accept my adulthood. But when I look at my life, for instance, there are many difficulties, but there are many things that I am so fortunate to have gotten. And when you ask me my story, I'll tell you I worked hard, I did this. But I don't know who was saying some things in a certain room. Even the fact that I speak the way I do, when you're doing interviews, someone can hear your accent and go, that kind of person can't represent us, no matter how hard they've worked and then they are dumped. So I just feel like the narrative, my friend, oh, he made it, but so I think there's some compassion that we need to have. For
but
people.
you know what you're saying makes a lot of sense, and true to how I started this conversation. I hear this a lot when I start with younger people. Not so much my age mates. These age mates, I just hear them
on occasion
they may complain about their lives.
It might also be a thing of transition, like when you're allowing. When you're entering life, you're like, it's now time for you to do stuff. I have a friend, one of my former roommates used to say she didn't understand the thing of you need to move out, especially as girls, you need to move out, learn how to pay bills so that you don't just enter a man's house. She's like, what is there to learn about *165*3#? That's how you pay bills.
We knew this thing.
Like there is nothing to learn how
what are we learning?
Like what are we learning about, paying bills? So she's just, I think it's sometimes just like a transition of knowing. And for example, I'll give you, so my dad was forever telling us, after uni, the taps close. Those are his words. After uni, the taps close. Like forget about receiving any pocket money, forget about any, and the taps really closed. You understand? Like you can, they really they really closed. So I think it's that. Maybe
girls.
Maybe
that tap. They're already closing it. Hey, you're 12. You go and be a day laborer. 12. You go and move those stones. What do you mean? You're here coughing,
so I think maybe, and it depends, because some parents are a lot more generous and they keep the taps open for a while. But I think that statement sometimes might come when you realize, oh my God, how much is, when you realize and you're like, oh, how much is cheese? Well, I feel like cheese. You go and you find out how much cheese and olives
really is.
How much cheese really is, and olives, and what are the other things? Those and cream cheese, and you're just
for the charcuterie.
for the charcuterie.
Charcuterie.
What
is that? That's a dish.
No, it's the board
That's
that has
kabodo.
cheeses.
Oh, that
and
catches board.
Eh.
It's called a what?
charcuterie board.
Charcuterie.
If you work in cheese, could you please sponsor us?
Lato.
Yeah,
Thank you,
no, I get what you're saying. My dad, ours was 28.
Oh, that's when he closed.
But everybody left. No, not closed. He didn't have the opportunity. He didn't have the opportunity to. He
By
just
then
voiced
they
it
were-
and said, by 28,
I'm done.
everybody should be out of the house.
Your prefrontal cortex is fixed.
Yeah, he just said, he told it to us when we were done with school.
No, for us that no.
He
For us
said,
that-
my contribution to you as per education will be for your undergrad,
yeah.
and hopefully you can get sponsorship or
Yeah.
scholarships for your master's degree. But my responsibility towards you is undergrad. But after that, till 28 years old, I'll feed you, I'll house you, I'll clothe you, I'll give you shelter.
Yeah.
Find your
No,
way,
it was the
your
same,
feet.
yeah.
And if you want to, actually, he told us if you want to move out before then, I can, and you're sure you want to, and can afford,
parent.
I can give you 6 months rent.
Pumla, that's why you
That's what
prefer.
our
That's,
dad-
that's why I think you shouldn't compare childhood and adulthood.
Why? But I didn't
Life
have
has
any
been
of those
okay.
parts. No, he said it.
Yeah.
But I know
You were busy marrying.
None of I was busy.
You're so weak. You're so
And you
weak.
see,
You know you have your
freedom.
child.
Let
You
me
give
now
them freedom up
bind
to
myself to this
28.
man.
Then she's
And
like,
now
I'm
I want to have a
married.
child, but
Then
I have
I'm
to go to my
pregnant.
university.
She has a project.
Banang.
So
My
weak.
gosh.
Yeah, and even then, I remember when I was getting married, I remember he even told me, Pumla, if it is
Yeah.
because you want to leave the house, you want freedom, it's
you
okay. I
go.
can give you, if you want to leave, you go. I'll give you, you
Yeah.
go. Don't.
No, but Pumla, I agree with you. You had to go through it because of who you are.
Yeah,
because of who
what-
you
I
are.
actually want to ask you, so
But none of us took that. And I think when people say, no, you're spoiling your children by giving them, he said it to us, but we still all of us worked our way
Yeah.
through. We were out of the house before then,
Yeah.
and we.
these things are not physics, right? You can't just just because someone's providing for you, now you're going to become spoiled.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, just
But I
because
wanted
they
to
are
ask you a
giving
question, and just from the way you
I have
were,
something too on that
the way
one,
you
but
were
that's-
talking about your come up, I feel like you were already becoming an adult through that resistance to your parents in a certain sense.
Yeah.
Like, I remember talking to your brother one time, I was like, Vananga Pumla was the adult by the time she was 12, and I was the one taking all the beatings. But, like, you know, that this postmodern view of I'm going to be my child's friend. I had the example of, like, if someone says you have to come and see your grandmother on Sunday, whether you like or not, that's how I feel a parent should be. I'm telling you what you're supposed to do. Then there's the other parent of, you know, your grandmother loves you.
Yeah.
So, brother, come.
Yeah,
I tell you, have to be happy. The second one is so much pressure because I'm going to be disappointed in you. But anyway, don't come.
Yeah.
Now, I find that
Yeah.
at least when I'm going inside, they say sit down, but inside, I'm standing inside. There's some resistance that you need to become your own person. So when I was reading about, like, what are all the stages of parenting and how have things evolved, there's something about you as a
whether Joe
child.
wants children. He has read about the stages of parenting.
I was very serious, but we hadn't yet begun deposits.
You're so weak.
I'm a good Christian. We're talking theory. But I
Oh,
want to ask
Lord.
you, isn't the resistance, do you feel like the fact that you had to, I don't know, have some antagonism with your parents, did you think it helped you grow up, or it was not an influence in you becoming an adult? Because for me, the time I felt I was becoming an adult was when my father and I were starting to have this, and I said, I have my opinion, and my opinion matters.
I don't know if I'm even like that with my parents to this age.
Were you with them like at any point? Were you like that?
No.
with them
I'll
at
say
any point?
my dad was very strict. Very, very strict. He has really mellowed now, but it's such a shock to us. You understand? Like even receiving the melody, me and my sisters and I are like,
When's the other shoe going to drop?
Should we? Like, what's
Yeah.
that about? Like, he was very, very strict. But the tough him, right, always comes out. And so I think we were brought up. He called me maybe, there's a time he called me, I think late last year, and I didn't pick. So sometimes he'll call maybe time zone,
Yeah.
I didn't pick. He maybe tried to call me twice and I didn't pick and I didn't call back. Then after like some time I called back and he's like, I hope you realize that I called you, and when your father calls you, you pick up. I wanted to say tata, going, but like he has that. You understand? He has authority. Like
That's authority.
He has
That's not
authority.
even-
He has authority over me, and not it's not even like we can have a very cordial, but there is authority.
You still feel the power.
Dear, power over
Reminded
power.
me that exact
Yeah.
same scenario happened to
Yeah.
me, and I said,
You assured him.
"Excuse me, Dad. I
have
have
things
a life that I live. I will never not pick your call intentionally.
Can you imagine?
I have picked now.
Wow.
Use this opportunity to say what you wanted to say.
I think he was on the other side kneeling.
You guys, that's why he never prefers adulthood.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't. What could I ever have done? But that's a very good way of affirming yourself. You stood your ground.
I just
So
said,
yeah,
I'm
so
like,
for me, I think I've never had that antagonism.
That's why I was looking at.
I've never had.
I feel like when you were speaking, you were. In fact, when you were going through what you were going through your 20s, you had already been through some things in the household.
Yeah.
Like you had some light sparring already, so you were ready to go. Hey,
there's a lot of trauma
happy.
there.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Don't take me back. Because I remember that statement 20 years ago, and I couldn't do shit.
Yeah.
Now I'm sorry. Yeah, as an
I'm
adult,
not who I was.
You cannot.
I don't think I've made the
have no
transition
power
yet.
over
With
me.
with my parents, I'm still with my mom. It's different because we've always been friends, and so with my mom, it's like as we grow older, we're now like I wouldn't say sisters because she's still actually my kid brother. My brother he was born in 2000. So when the year that's when he's 25.
My question for that man.
That time when we were all waiting for the world to end.
He was born in but my brother
He was bimbo.
Yeah, he was bimbo. He keeps saying that.
What an unserious person. How can you show up at such a time?
But if he has any minute, he can receive a slap from my mom. You understand? Like she has that. Yeah, he's like anytime, and they live together. He's like anytime when he's dancing, he knows a slap can come.
Anytime.
So my parents, they have that
He talks from the
parental.
corner of the room.
Yeah. So I've never been able to. I know that I'm an adult, and so they treat me a certain way. But that transition, like you've made, I've never been able to.
And it's fine. You don't have to. Banage, don't make it.
Yeah, I know. I can't, dear.
It's
They'll
not
assure me.
it's a very
I think it's also character.
good place to be.
It's a real line you have to cross. I want to ask that guy a question.
Let's ask Alan.
So you listen to us talk, eh? We're talking about ourselves as adults, but our parents are still alive. I want you to talk about your experience as a young man having to be the man of the household.
Oh yeah.
If you don't mind.
Of course, no one can see my face, so I can say what I want.
Hey!
I felt a bit weird
People
because
are starting
I'm
to
someone
skate.
who has romanticized childhood, though it was very, very tough. Talking about caning, is the time I did something, my mom was like, I'm going to give you 70 strokes.
Of that 70.
70. And then day one, she gave me 20, got tired. She's like, I'll start from there tomorrow.
Wait, they tell you lie down?
Yes. My mom, single mom, she's gave me
Single
20.
mothers were tough on those days.
Next day gave me 15, then 15.
And she will followed through.
And then like me and her didn't have like a good relationship.
relationship.
Though now
Mother
she's
and a son.
though now she's at my home almost every day.
Yeah.
But like I realized that I had to manipulate her a bit. So I became close to her. I was doing chores. I was telling her, oh, Passions is on. Let's sit and watch Passions. Let's do what. Then we became buddies. We were cooking together. We were eating. And I remember one time I watched Passions. I was like, I think today I won't get any canes.
Passions was a Telemundo, eh?
But for white people. It
Yeah,
was,
but it was a Telemundo.
Telemundo, it had that car, Timmy Kid. There was a doll with hands into a thing.
Weird stuff.
Shows how old I am.
Also no Passion?
But anyway,
too young
on
for
that
no
day,
Passion.
He looks young, yeah.
he's 31. On that day,
Yeah.
I started pretended to doze. I was like, I get up, I walk away, and I hear nothing. And then she's like, Sebo, where are you going? We have to finish our canes. And then
How
puts me
old were
down.
you?
This is like 12. And then from that day is when I realized that I'm going to stop forcing this relationship.
So
it's not
After
going
you
anywhere.
had done all that.
After I'd done all that, she was like, so like imagine like we were smiling 2 minutes ago, but now you're putting me down, you're beating me.
And they beat you.
Yeah, and she until
You
the 70
cry?
got done.
Would you cry?
It was more anger than pain.
Than
It's like,
pain,
why
yeah.
is this happening? Because
I'm so triggered.
but
by
anyway,
beating.
but I'm saying
I
like
really hate
despite
it
the
that people
canes,
beat
despite
people.
the terrible schools I went
Can you
to,
beat a child?
despite the lack,
You
I
still romanticize.
What's the name of your classmate who had a monsieur that was a certain size?
Ponciano James.
Do you remember that story? Did you have there's a guy you talked about?
we didn't talk about this one.
Oh, we didn't talk about it.
Yeah, even you this conversation, we didn't have it on air.
No, I looked at him
You've
first, I
also,
said, let me-
you've
But
also brought
but
this
why I
conversation.
romanticize it is because at one like and why most people I think do is because there was a dream. Like you're living but you had a dream. Like
You had some hope.
you had hope. You had like, which is weird, and Joel mentioned it, because you used to be like, finish school, get a job, get a wife or a husband, get a car, build a house, because that's what you saw. And the issue with the kids today is that, based off even on the economy, not every adult can build a house, right? Not every adult can own a car. So the question
Those
is, what
life
are the dreams
markers.
of the kids today,
Enter
right?
taxi.
Because it's like, taxi aside, like many people are
Yeah.
Ubering now because the Ubering
Yeah,
is
and
easier
it's
than
okay.
getting a thing. So a kid would grow up in a house without a car, and she would be like, okay, a car maybe
alright,
not. Rent, so maybe rent and a big apartment. So the dreams kind of a bit change. So yes, I mean, I grew up at quite an early age. I think by P7 P7 back I had a job. Every time I was not in school, I had a job. Until when I actually needed a job, and I got a job in school, in the canteen. So I'd wake up in the morning, put on beans, because that canteen used to do like chikomando, which was like a hot thing. So put on beans,
That guy
cook,
makes nice
break
chikomando.
time, go and like make the chapati. Then at lunchtime I'm selling, I'm cutting, and my classmates are like, hey Alan, give me this. Because I was getting like 5K per day, like imagine in school. So you're
Wait.
saving. And then
In the
my
afternoon, they're asking
VD,
you what is a mall.
my VD was reverse, because VD to me was my mom
what
would
is
come to
VD in
school and they give her some money. She would come and be like, hey,
VD, you would give your mom
yeah,
the
she would
money.
come pass by and be like, hey, Katya, I'm leaving. Do you have anything? I was like, yeah, I have like a 20K here.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you that Alan will tell you a story with such a casual face, and everyone is like, trauma.
Meanwhile, I'm hearing Pumla's stories. Pumla, go and repent for all you
And he's romanticizing. I just wanted.
Yeah, so like you
Yeah.
miss that when you actually had a dream, and you had people who are supporting that dream, people who are going to back it up. We want you to be a doctor. Today, no one wants you to be some. Everyone is like,
Plus,
bring
you have
us
a lot of
this,
potential. Like,
bring us
life will
that,
become
bring us
something.
food, pay taxes, like pay school fees for these kids. Everyone is like, but when you're younger, people are like, we want you to be a doctor. We want you to be the best. We want you to be in the paper. So that's what people miss, I think, when they say like,
Yeah,
the
when you were the jewel, or when you were the promise, you were potential. Now they're like,
Yeah.
where the potential has to pay off.
Like when visitors come and they say, that's our girl, that's my girl. She's going to go this, that. Like you remember that you had a dream, and people who are willing to
Then
push
the
that
girl
dream.
is still at home. That visitor who
And-
came in 2020,
Yeah.
in 2000.
Until you can you go to the
The
boys'
girl
quarter,
is
visit
still
the army.
She's still out. That's our woman.
That's our madam.
Anyway, Alan, I just want to say I'm so sorry for what you went through. Because adulting, now that you've spoken about it, I realized that a lot of adulting is tied to finances,
A lot.
ability
Yeah.
to finance oneself and one's dependence.
Effective demand.
Is it? Okay.
I feel
A big part
in
of
most
it.
of the things I have said, and even when Joel talked about, he brought about employment.
Yeah.
Or earning a
Yeah.
living, or how do you make your living, how do you take care of yourself. That's usually finances.
Yeah.
So while people have had different struggles
Yeah.
in different
This
facets
one.
of their lives, I find that finances, when your finances are going okay, usually you can manage other things.
You can cry in
you
a
can
bed.
you can
Some
cry in your bed.
existential issues.
Yeah.
Because we are all going to cry anyway.
Yeah.
So are you crying on the bench or
Yeah.
on the bicycle?
Yeah.
Choose your cry.
Yeah.
Because we are all going to cry.
Yeah.
Crying
Have you
on the
guys ever been broke? And when I say broke, I don't mean poor.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to distinguish
Yeah.
between poor and broke.
Yeah.
Poverty is a condition.
Yeah.
It is having to make
One
chikomando
circumstance.
and give money to your parent on VD. That's poverty.
Yeah.
That's not brokenness. Broke is a phase
Yeah.
of either you made a bad decision, or you must have come from a place of either abundance or normalcy.
You've
Yeah.
gone
of
down.
have.
You've gone into
And now
broke.
you've gone into
Yeah.
broke is now I cannot afford the lifestyle that I once did. Even if you might be doing relatively well compared to other people.
Yeah.
But then there's also that one where like, guys, I'm broke.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced that
In a
in
way.
your adulthood?
In a way.
You have?
In a way.
You bring.
Yeah.
I can't believe
Yeah.
this.
Did I know?
You did. Because when I'm your way, it's going to be so weak, but it's the one.
Yet it's
that
the one
get
thing
away.
I think, but maybe not.
No. So brokenness, when I thought about it, the truth of the matter is that one of like, let's say I don't have transi, I don't have what, no moment came to me.
Okay.
But I told you, I always look, I always feel like there is a certain class of people.
Why are you pointing this way?
Not that I belong, that I want to belong to, but you know people
Yeah.
who belong to a certain class
I
of people.
hear what you're saying.
So, my story comes from my master's. So my master's, I...
Where?
Where?
I'm
Tell us.
Pre-post. No, let me tell you.
No, tell us. Tell us.
No, so my
Where?
master's. So
Where?
I'm coming. It's going to be in the story.
Massa what?
Yeah.
Massachusetts?
So when I was applying for my master's. Like for me, Bambi, the truth of the matter is that as a child, I had always said, from S3, I had said, honorable members, I'm going to go to Harvard Law School.
That's right.
S3. Like I kept saying, so when time for masters came, I applied to many schools, right? But I knew this is the one that I want. But they don't give a full scholarship. I got a full scholarship from Cambridge. Full, paid, with its, I don't know what.
Atugonza said,
I jumped.
You were like, what?
I said no. I didn't respond. You know, the school kept sending me emails like, you need to confirm because we need to give this position to somebody else.
Last
I said
chance.
no. I just kept quiet. I kept ignoring that email because I was waiting for the Harvard email. Dear, the Harvard email came.
Because who ignores Cambridge?
Thanks.
Who does Cambridge beg?
Thanks. The Harvard email came.
I'm sorry, on this note, may you please? Because I can't understand.
Yeah, so the Harvard email comes and they have given me, I remember, I'm always trying to remember what I feel I needed to raise $20,000, right? And meanwhile, the other guys have given me everything, including the
room and
stipend.
board.
But for you, your S3 dream.
My S3 dream was
had to
Harvard.
come true.
It had to come true. They said $20,000. As soon as I hear $20,000, I talk to that class of people that I've told you who in this country. And then they're like, ask your parents. I'm like, my parents.
Did you hear I said dollars, not K, not 20K?
Hey, ask your parents. So I remember and by that time my dad was retired. So I remember as soon as I find out I need to thingy 20K, I ask my dad. My dad says, oh, that is so good that you've gotten it.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. The only thing I can offer you is maybe if we sell by a car.
Yeah.
Who wants their father to sell their car?
And even if he did.
Every day comes.
It will give me 2K. Yeah, that's
But
he's
no,
like, then he told me,
Let's sell our car if it is giving us the exact money.
Thank you. Then he says, it has, he's like, let me tell you, in this country, I have been educated by the Ministry of Education, by rather Norway,
I know there's like a cohort of people, but an age group that like that can
Yes,
be.
they've been educated. So he was generally just telling me, dear, then he told me there are well-wishers out there in the world with Christ on your side. Go out there and look for this 20,000. So he set me up. Meanwhile, let me tell you, Kumla, there are people who can pay that $90,000 I needed to raise from their accounts. You understand? There are people whose parents can raise that money. Yeah. So I remember I decided, there's a guy the year before us who had fundraised. So I said, I'm going to fundraise. So I wrote letters. You cheek. I wrote letters to everyone in this country. I wrote letters to His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta.
Are you
I sent to the president's office, but you know, to get to the president, the handlers, they'll be like, Hati, we meet at, can we meet at Ivamba restaurant? He's like, hey, I am him. You understand? Like, you're like, immediately we have that conversation. I'm like, nonsense. Then they're like, now
you didn't become a Muhima?
Dear.
Because
so
me, I would become.
Me
never try, I would become. Now for you, even have that privilege.
You understand?
Of like a body of there, but me, I would become. No. That day I would introduce myself as never try. Is my father's, is my husband's name.
But I am
Turia Singu. I originate from, where do they come
Thank
from?
you, there. So let me tell you. So let me tell you.
The family of who I get a family.
I went to president's
20,000.
I went to president's office. They passed me to even see anybody. Like they take you through 7 PAs. Till I was like, this thing is leading me nowhere. I said, okay, who is an influential woman in this country that I can go to? I went to Kadaga's office, dear. They said she meets people on Wednesdays. I took my letter to Kadaga's office. Meanwhile, I have a Cambridge thing in my email. I'm going to Kadaga's office to talk to anyone in Kadaga's office. Dear, are you Amsoga?
You did not become.
I did.
I don't know even what you're talking about.
There's no sense.
What?
You think I go to the office? I could
because
not.
with that scholarship, I would have got it.
I
would have got the one of the Bahima, the one of the Basoga, the one of the Jahadolas, the one of the Aru, the one of
which one you want Cambridge here?
Whatever you want me to
you
be.
think I went to that office? I failed. I wrote to Emmanuel.
Oh yes.
I received the response from the Central Bank of Uganda after I had returned from my master's. Anyway, just no, long story short, I wrote to everyone until someone just gave me KB. I ended up, they told me, no, try private guys. So I wrote to law firms. I remember there's one guy one time, I went to his office, I told him I'm looking for $20,000, a normal human being. But I Mr. Sim Katende, I don't know how he referred to. He told me, oh, you've got a number. My friend, myself, and Ezekiel Tuma, we've been we're going to give you $4,000, $4K, like this. He had never seen me from Adam. He gave me $4,000. I was like, beautiful. I went to my former workplace. They were like, we're going to give you $2,000. I went to my former boss. He said, now, me, I'm going to give you this money, but also go to my mother. He's like, my mother has a lot of money. So he sent me to his mother. And his mother paid for my ticket. She's like, I'm going to buy for you the ticket to go.
Then someone was coming through slowly.
Then someone told me, go to this organization. I went to some organization called Open Society. They gave me 10K. Dear, by the end, I had about 25,000. In proper trekking of Kampala, like I used to wake up, I had an Excel sheet of I'm going. Then when I reached 20K, I responded to Cambridge. I said, I'm sorry, I won't be able to take this. So yeah.
How old were you when you went to do your master?
26.
26.
Yeah, the frontal cortex had developed.
And it had started to develop.
It had started to develop.
Joe, tell us about a broken. I really want to hear from you.
Plot 5. Kololo Protein.
Tanan Avenue.
What is the avenue?
What is that?
Hey, please, this is a public venue. I'm not going to say it. Please.
Hey,
Not in your places, not mine.
Joe was broke because at that point he gave out all his money.
Hey, that's stuff.
That's Joel's case. Joel broke.
And when they paid back, he said, don't bring it.
Don't remind me.
Don't remind us.
No, I think it was when I was paying for... So I also went on a scholarship, but I had to work. And as I was working, I met this young lady. Men are stupid.
Men being you?
Me. She was Creole.
Yeah.
She'd speak French. And I'd just be like, I'm finished.
Yeah.
Pourquoi?
Oh.
What? I was like,
Je
yeah.
m'appelle.
And she was like, hey, I like
Ça
your
va,
accent.
ça va.
Like, for some reason, she thought, oh, he's so exotic and whatnot. I was like, I must show her. And my roommate was like, Kawa, use my car. Pick her up. I was like, showed up in the Mazida. Let's go out. Took her to the club. We went there. Her friends were there.
You had no cash.
I said, what is this?
Yeah.
But bottles were going. So I had my card. I knew how much was on the card. I gave it to the barman like this.
Denied.
This is one I can afford. Gue. Do you know how you're seeing people adding things like the lobster? What? And stupid me, I couldn't tell her, like, look, I can't afford this.
Yeah.
Because I was like, she's so beautiful. I need to be with her. I finished all the money that I had gotten the stipend that day. So I came back.
Because she was so beautiful.
Yeah.
Keep going. Men are so stupid indeed.
So I got back, and this guy, I tell him, like, look, he was moving out. He was older than me, and he was moving out. I was going to get a new roommate. Now, with the new roommate coming in, the school's policy was, we're resetting the terms of the agreement. You have to resign. That's when the landlord said it's going up. I said,
Meanwhile, I paid for bottles.
I cannot manage this. They told me, you have to find another place. Which other place? They said it's in the hood. So I was staying in between a gun store.
What did you tell us
McDonald's.
No.
You guys, you are hearing gunshots, and I'm like, huh? This is where I'm staying. Meanwhile, my dad calls me. How is it? Why is it loud where you are? I'm watching TV for a whole sem. I was paying because of a beautiful girl.
Beautiful girl.
There are moments of poverty, there are moments when you don't have something, but to know that every decision you're making and you're around people who are freely doing stuff is so painful. I even remembered how after we had left school, there were those people who got jobs and those who hadn't, but we'd like to still hang out. And they create a separate group of the ones who have money. They're like, we can't keep going to Bon Appetit. Let us go and have Mongolian.
Yeah.
Then you show up and you see them eating Mongolian, they haven't invited you.
But Yunga, what are you doing there? Yet you're in the category of Bon Appetit.
How
did you find yourself
I want to be
there?
in nice places. You go and drink soda. You know, those people, you go to Sheraton and you drink some soda.
Is it still a thing? I used to see it those days.
Yeah, but it's weird when you're in a place that you don't know. You don't know. Like here in UG, like I can get Rolex. I was like, what am I going to do for breakfast? I learned how to cook. I just had to grow up. But it was my own stupidity. So for me, that brokenness was my fault. And it just reminded me at a time that when you don't have finances, everything in the world is finances. When you have money, there are other problems. But when you don't have money,
it is money.
I would see people, hey, change. Like,
what do you call it?
I think also
reduce your life
to that one
to your material needs,
Yeah.
So I just remember that feeling of you can't even speak up, you can't talk to someone.
And Joel, you had also never been in that life. You had been at uni in the church. So now this stuff of how boys be housing babes, that had never been your...
We just said, let's go to the canteen, and we pray. And then now I'm trying to house people. So I think I tried to live a life I couldn't afford. And I was shown that, you can't manage.
Do you feel like most men's
at a young age, especially,
are usually around
trying to impress women,
impress
at a certain age, especially.
Men try to impress boys more than they try to impress.
No, that's true.
Or they're trying to impress their fellow men.
I feel like
that's true. Because you see how men react with other rich men when they've come.
Yeah. Men idolize rich men more than women do. I swear to you.
I would co-sign that 1,000%.
That I have seen. They like to deny, but I'm happy that the men in this congregation have agreed to it. My most broke moment.
I think meanwhile people must be hearing the broke moments. They're like, please put in the comment section.
No, we have diversity.
Guys, we want Alan also.
Alan told us his poverty. I think let us
because he might go lower than that.
Yeah, because we are not ready for anything lower.
I lived in the ceiling at a certain place for a while. They didn't know I was there.
I already introduced us with real conversations with humor.
No, not real conversations with the crying.
Yeah.
Please contribute.
Allow us humor.
That's where my humor comes from.
Clearly, and it's the worst.
The trauma response?
I know. It's humor. What a good trauma response.
My broke moment was when I was building my house.
Right in the comment section.
Yeah, please. Let me tell you, I started building my house earlier than I had planned to start.
How old were you?
I was 29 years old when I started building, and I entered my house at 31. I was supposed to start building. I wanted to start building my home at 35, but I got a cancer scare.
Oh yeah, I remember.
When I was 29.
I remember.
And
your reaction
at that
to
point,
it was
at that time, so this is what really happened. I wondered in my head, what was I living for my child? Like, if anything happened, all I had in my life was liquid asset. I had no real asset, like cash. All I had was like cash. I felt like I needed a place for my son. Like when I went through it and I got out of it, I was like, okay, now I had died today. My son, okay, he has a home, he has a father, and they have a stable family, and he would have gone there. But what would we have had? Like, who are we? You know? So in my mind, it was like, I need to anchor. So as I was saving, I only had 50% of the savings. I decided, let me start now. Put in 50%, and I'm privileged.
You're blessed. A project manager. You're mad. Like the more I hear from you,
I just took out I emptied my bank account because it was the only saving I had. I never used to save for anything else. I just saved to build a home because it's what I wanted to do in my life. To have my own home and live in my house. I was tired of moving into rented houses that I did not like and kept shifting and moving. So I said, let me start now. I had 50%. I started. My blessing is that I work for an employer who can give me a facility at very cheap interest rates.
Meanwhile, Pumla, you're talking about your brokest moment, right?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
So I got that money, but it was still not, I didn't want to get too much to make me dependent on them. I decided in my head that I'm going to get a certain amount, which is what I got, and I put it in. Now the rest was like, you're looking for the balance. I couldn't ask anybody. I didn't ask anyone for money. I knew that I could sustain it. I did my calculations. And I said, if I do this for the next 16 months, reduce my
manager
expenses
to this level.
To this level,
Yeah.
I can make it. Let me tell you, for a period of 14 months, I didn't eat a meal outside bank lunch.
That's right.
My employer's lunch.
You used to eat only bank lunch, even for
I only
dinner.
ate lunch. And my son, it was his best time. I didn't have dinner.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford. Could only afford lunch.
Couldn't take a flask.
Nothing else. No, because even buying food and cooking it was an expense. I literally had to reduce my expenditure to a
Just
certain
enough
degree.
for me to get to
and
work.
my son, it was his best time because I was only buying sandwiches. We never ate a meal.
Yeah.
He never ate at home. He also only ate lunch at school.
Yeah.
He would come back home. He would have breakfast, of course, bread.
Yeah.
He would eat bread. Have lunch at school. Dinner, he liked Rolex.
Yeah.
2K was
My
his
man.
supper.
Yeah.
Rolex, Chikomando. He liked Buzz
Yeah,
would have been
yeah.
his best friend.
Yeah.
On that note, he would eat sandwiches. He lived his life on egg sandwich.
Yeah.
It was his best time because there was no supper. There was just snacks.
Yeah.
That's what he would eat.
No
He would
washing
buy
plates.
things, no wash, nothing. My person who I had to pay her in arrears,
Yeah.
the nanny.
Yeah.
And we had a
Rose.
conversation, Nanny Rose,
Nanny
because she
Rose.
had been with us for 5 years. And I used to pay her handsomely.
Yeah.
And I begged her. I told her, according to my plan, I can only afford half of your salary. But if you can allow me to work for me for 1 year,
Yeah.
at that rate, I
Yeah.
will pay you back all your money. And she trusted me. And
That's
I paid
amazing.
her back to the dot
That's
when I got out of that loan.
amazing.
Me, that was my brokest moment. It was my most humbling moment.
Yeah.
Like, period. I asked my friends about that year. I never went out. Because again, my ego does not allow me to accept people to
being
buy for me
housed, yeah.
things. People would come to my home and would drink from there, eat from, and they've brought the drinks.
Yeah. And
I
they have
never
egg sandwiches.
I learned how my bare minimum.
Yeah.
What do I need to move from A to B? People used to see me walking on the road, and I used to exercise.
Yeah.
But now it became a need, a necessity. I used to drive to my son's school, take a border to the bank, walk from the bank to my son's school, because I could not afford the
That
fuel
fuel, yeah.
from my home to the bank every day, to and fro. My son even used to take a shuttle. I had to stop shuttle that year. So when you say broke, it's not necessarily like I was
It's not
still
necessarily
alive.
the
I was
other one, I
surviving.
can't eat
It's-
what?
Yeah, I can't, but I was not eating.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't eat. I ate
The world
what I
may
could
never
eat.
know, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
now you
know.
never know. Even when you go back to my pictures, I was actually I need to go back. I was at my healthiest.
Yeah.
I was at my slimmest.
All that footing.
At that time. I
Yeah.
walked and I didn't eat.
When your food so wishy.
So for me, that was like my broken. That was like my, I'm determined. I have to do this. I'm going to do it. But the freedom after.
Yeah.
When I had achieved my goal and things started to make sense
That's
after
really
that,
impressive.
it was like, it was worth it.
Yeah.
But I fought
Yeah.
for my
Do you
life.
feel very attached to your home?
Not at all. I can move even today if you give me the right money.
Good.
Yeah. Oh, me,
That's
I
the
feel
right
no,
question.
I
Yeah.
feel no attachment to anything in my life.
Clearly.
Even you, I can sell you.
Dear, you can.
Yeah.
But
Actually, it's
then
only my child I
I
feel
think on that note,
Guys,
thank you, love you.
this is the brokest.
We
The
have
most.
nothing. For you, even you, I can sell you tomorrow. What are you talking about?
Give me a price.
You're here asking us questions. When
I
is the
can
show
help
coming? Tomorrow, we can sell you.
On that note,
That
we
is
would like
so
to close the show.
heartless.
You guys have the
Yeah.
closing remarks about making smart choices versus adulting is a scam?
I think the sum total of things that have happened to you, it might not be your fault, but it's your responsibility. And if you can get some people to help you, it's hard for us all, but you can make it. And may these stories inspire you.
Yeah. No, I think mine is that adulting simply means taking responsibility. Adulting equals taking responsibility. So even if, same thing, even if all these things have happened to you, even if you have even worse stories and you're looking at you like, oh my God, how can that be your brokest moment? Do you know my brokest moment? I think the truth of the matter is that at a certain age, which is what we're calling adulting, it is now you to take responsibility and say, what can I do? What's the best that I can do?
What's in my hand?
What is in my hand? You know, what can I do? And that's what adulting is, yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys for sharing your experiences
Thanks,
so
Bonzi.
vulnerably.
Yeah.
Guys, adulting is adulting. we are all going through it. You know, misery loves company.
Join us.
Like I was building, I was looking for a scholarship. I was making commando.
I was so broke, I was building my house.
We are now here.
I was in the clubbing, man. I had a roast offer from Cambridge. They're going to roast
I
us.
rejected.
They're going to
I rejected
roast us.
Cambridge.
Because I was so broke.
I was whoa. Anyway, we've changed
even
this
as we
podcast
hear
to the
ourselves.
1%. We are the 1%. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for being here up to the episode. I know it was a long one, but yeah, as adults, sometimes we think we are, you know, we have it all figured out, and other times we are trying to decide between fuel and going out. What do we choose? But at the end of the day, we are just all winging it. So please share with us in the comment section how you're handling adulting. Tell us what your broke moments were. Answer all the questions. What season in your life you feel was adulted you, like developed, show you character development. If you really like this episode, please don't forget to like, comment, and to share with a friend.
Thank
and
you.
again, do not forget to subscribe to What the Theory, PPJ. Until the next time,
We're PPJ.
we're PPJ.
Stay